Let's just jump right in here. You don't need another breakthrough. You need a reset. Because once you start seeing things clearly, your patterns, your habits, where you've been out of alignment, there is a different kind of tension that starts to show up. And when you see it, you can't unsee it, if that makes any sense. And that's where things start to get uncomfortable. Because a part of you wants to move forward, and there's a part of you that still, of course, is operating as the old version of you, because that person still exists, your same routines and reactions and standards and patterns and all that. Even though you've reached a new intellectual level where you know better now, that's a very frustrating place to be. By the way, welcome back to the lab. I'm your host, Bryce Prescott. And today's episode, we are going to bring together all of the things we've been talking about for the last several episodes. Because, as I just shared, it's a frustrating place to be when now you can see and know different for yourself, but yet you're still in that place where you not really doing anything about it. See, awareness without movement, it will feel like pressure. Like you can see it, but you're not doing anything about it. And it's actually as well the source of most feelings of depression. Because you haven't fully changed the thing that's causing you the discomfort yet. And most people in those moments, they will do one of two things. And this is tried and true. I've seen it in my coaching with individuals. I've seen it with podcasters. I've seen it myself. They will either do one of two of these things. They will either completely blow up their life and start over, or they won't. Or they will drift back to what's familiar, and they'll be in that place where they just feel stuck, and they'll just become more numb in the stuckness, and they'll resort to sedation and all the other things that weren't helping them. And let's be real, neither one of those things work. They're not good. Blowing up your life, totally unnecessary. Going back to the way it was, same thing. I want to be clear about something. A reset does not mean you need to start over with everything from scratch. You just need to renew certain parts of what you're doing from this new place of awareness. All right, so what do I mean there? Well, these last few episodes of the lab, we've been talking about this from a bunch of different angles. The idea that your habits are telling on you. If you don't have the life that you want, look at where you spend your time and attention. Your habits will give you all the data as far as why you don't have what you want. The buffer is that space between decision and becoming. I've outlined that ad nauseum, and I will do it again in the future. The buffer is something that's completely misunderstood. And as we get the finer understanding of what it means, things become very, very clear, making it easier to take action. We've talked about that the last couple of weeks. We've talked about how discomfort isn't some random thing. It's a signal. It is showing you where it is that you need to grow. In order to have the thing that you want, the reason for the discomfort now is showing you you're not ready to hold that thing. So now in this bigger place of awareness, the question becomes, well, what do you actually do about it now? Because if you just stop at that place of where now you know better, like your awareness has shifted, that will turn into frustration. It will turn into depression. It will turn into sedation. Because you're seeing everything, you're seeing across the bridge of where it could take you, and you're not doing anything about it. And when nothing changes, nothing changes. But now you know better. So your sensitivity to the possibilities is heightened, and it will just wreck you. And that's why in this reset, renewal is the move. Now, renewal, I want to make sure I'm clear about this. I'm talking about this because at the time of recording this, it's Easter Sunday. And for the Christian world, Easter Sunday represents a big holiday where in the story of Jesus Christ and his crucifixion, his atonement, he rose from the dead 3 days after he was placed in the sepulcher. And there's all these religious implications of what that means when it comes to us and our willingness to have the old version of us die in order to be renewed. But I want to make sure that we understand the practical application of that story. Even if you're not a Christian, you can understand the power of the concept of letting the old version of you pass on. The version of you that is imperfect, that doesn't do the things as they said they should, doesn't keep their word, fails in certain aspects, that version of you can go to the earth while arises out of that a new, heightened, better version of you. And that happens through renewal. But that doesn't mean you have to burn everything to the ground. It's not disappearing and coming back a new person, like unto the Christ story. Renewal is refinement. It's looking at your life and then telling the truth about it to yourself, about yourself, to others. This is going to stay. This has got to go. This gets better. This is an applicable lesson for me personally, as right now, upon recording this, I am in the middle of a move. Packing up all of my things, sorting through the things of the past, what to decide to keep. It's been a really interesting version of authorship for myself. I am choosing to rewrite now a new version of the story. And these trinkets and memories and things that are a part of my past are either going to come with me or I'm going to let them go. That's a choice based off of awareness of where I want to go. The same thing applies for you, quite literally and even figuratively. When you are willing to look at your life and tell the truth and then ask, like you're moving, go into the inner world that you have and all of the stuff that's in there. This can stay, this can go. You make your piles, just like when you're moving. We're taking this to DI. This one's going to Goodwill. I'm keeping this. This old thing, as great as it was, it served its purpose. It's got to go. Do you see the connection here with how it relates to your behaviors, your old identity? This stays, this goes. You just now are doing it with a heightened sense of awareness. Now, because I'm big on frameworks and I find them to be very simple and easy ways to learn certain things, I wanted to share this process of renewal with you in a 3-part process, a frame, because it is very, very simple. And as a reminder, simple doesn't mean easy. Simple means uncomplicated. And so as you hear these things, I want you to be willing to internalize them and apply them in your own life on the things to which you need to renew, that you need to let go of. So in this 3-part framework, it's 3 simple things. It's 3 R's. The first one is recognize. The second one is release. And the third one is to recommit. So let's talk about the first one, recognize. This is where people stop usually. Because to recognize what's working and what's not working, it requires a level of honesty that most people aren't comfortable with. You have to be willing to ask yourself what is clearly not working about your life. Now, I want to break that down into the 4 domains of life. There's your health and fitness, there's your personal relationships, there's your business and your money, and there's your spirituality. In each one of those domains, you have things to which you are in alignment and you have things to which you are not. And you have to be willing to be honest about what's not working if you're going to make any sort of changes that allow you that feeling of renewal, that feeling of rebirth. Where is it that you are out of alignment? What just isn't working? Where do you keep getting the same signal over and over again? And when I use the word signal, I'm referring to your emotions. Where do the same emotions keep popping up? Where do the same signals start popping up? That's the invitation. Right there, it's ready for you. When you can say, that's popping up. Now we have something we can work with. If you want to get even more specific, we can look at it through the lens and framework of what we talked about in the last episode with our 5 pillars, with our knowledge, with our skills, our network, our resources, our reputation. Where is that thing not working? And how does it apply to those 5 areas? Which one is it? Where is the gap? Because your life doesn't feel off randomly. It's not just 'cause. It feels off because there's something that's out of alignment. It's wobbly. It's not tightened up. Consider the example of wheels on your car, the alignment. If something's just a little bit off, you get that vibration. You get odd tire wear. This example applies to your life too, where you're out of alignment. It causes additional wear and tear on you. So that first one is you have to be willing to recognize what's not working. In order for you to have a renewal and to reset yourself and your life, recognition is the first thing. Where's it not working? The second part is you have to be able to release it. This is the part that people avoid because it requires letting go before you have proof that it's the right move to let go. I'm going to state that again. It requires letting go before you have proof that it's the right move to let go. You have an intuition, you have an idea, you have a feeling, but you don't have concrete evidence that this is the path. And when you're letting go of things like your old habits, the old identity that you have, your way of thinking, your standards and boundaries, sometimes you're letting go of old versions of yourself that are really comfortable for you to be. We've talked about in the past how your identity is what you practice to be. Oftentimes, we're really good and we like that version of ourselves, even though it might not be the version of us that works. That's uncomfortable. Because the moment then that you choose to release something, you're in the buffer again. You're in that place where it's a new thing and you have new emotions and new feelings that are inviting you to a heightened level of understanding about yourself and where you need to grow. And it's also in that middle buffer place where you don't fully feel like the old version of you, but you haven't become and stabilized into that newer, better, upgraded version of yourself as well. And that causes most people to panic. But that place is required, like that middle ground space. You have to do it because you don't step into something new without the process of letting go of what's old. Consider the example of a 4-part track race, a baton to the next runner type of race. But yet all 4 of those people are versions of yourself. You got to let go of the baton to let the new guy take it the distance of where it needs to go. Like I said, you can't step into something new without letting go of something old. That's the release part. And the third part of this 3-part framework is you have to recommit. And this is where change actually happens, where transformation starts to show itself. And the mistake that most people make when they get to this part is that they try to do too much. They think that in order for them to stay in alignment, they have to fix everything immediately all at once. I need a new routine and my mindset's got to go and now I need to work on these new habits and this is my new identity and Dude, it doesn't work when you do it that way because it's too much. It's too much of a change and your system will reject it. Quite simply, that voice in your head is there to keep you comfortable. And sometimes comfort is the things that aren't good for you. Sometimes talking shit to you is the thing that keeps you comfortable because you're familiar with it. A lot of people talk about that voice in their head being their enemy. It's not your enemy or your champion. It's just there to kind of keep you in a place where you're in a familiar state. And so when you try to adjust too many things at once, your system will reject it. You don't need to recommit to everything. You need to choose one thing at a time, one domain, one standard, one new behavior, one area. And then as you work on it, you stack it, you compound, you keep your word in that one area daily. That's literally how your identity will change, is through the renewed evidence of you keeping your word about a new standard and commitment that you've made to yourself. On a personal level, I was having a moment with one of my coaches several months ago, And I was experiencing a lot of discord in every domain of my life. I was frustrated in my health and fitness with some of the habits that I was unable to let go of at the time. I was experiencing frustration in my business with how things were going financially. Spirituality was something that I was struggling with, my personal relationships, and I felt overwhelmed. And my coach asked me, what's one domain to which you know you can have full 100% control over it, to which you could rewrite the entire process of your own source code for that? And I said, my body. I control what goes in my mouth. I control how I record it. If I keep track of my macros, my exercise routines, my water, I can have 100% control over that to reframe that. So that was the domain that we chose, my health and fitness. And so I did that. I took that one domain. And in that time, I've stopped drinking. I've stopped using cannabis to sedate. I've counted my calories every day for over 4 months. I've lost over 22 pounds. My voice is stronger than it's ever been because my personal power and my self-trust is at an all-time high. All because in this season of renewal, I decided this is the one area I'm really going to focus on. Now, my example translates to yours as well. That's how you do it. That's how you shift out of these areas, is you take one at a time and you take the things to which you can control. So just as a quick review, the 3 R's in this 3-part framework of renewal is recognize, release, and recommit. Like I've said, I've been in a season where there's a lot that's been shifting for me. I just shared I'm in the middle of a move. I made these adjustments to my physical body. One of the other things I did is I was operating out of a Utah-based LLC. I am now fully legal in the state of Arizona with my new company structure and the new bank accounts and the new things there. I'm transitioning all of my billing over to this with everything that I do. I have systematically taken the things that I need to, and what that's making me feel is this season of uncertainty because there's so much that the dust needs to settle with. And the beautiful part about these decisions is that they've created in me a heightened sense of responsibility, which then has created clarity. And now as I'm seeing something clearly, like it is for you, you don't get to pretend you don't see it anymore. It forces a decision. I've asked myself so many times in the last several months, am I going to keep doing this the same way, or am I actually going to change it up? I would encourage you to ask yourself that question too. Am I going to keep operating this way, or am I going to renew how I show up? Am I going to reset and become somebody different that lets go of these other things? Because it's not comfortable. But as I've shared, discomfort is nothing more than a signal. And when I feel that signal of discomfort, what comes up is, oh, I'm building something different now. And I would have you ask yourself that same question. What are you building now? Based off of your current commitment to renew and to recommit and to release the things that aren't helping you. You know, the key piece of all this is basically the stacking aspect of it, the compounding, doing it over and over again. Compounding is a superpower. Consistency in these areas, it's not just a one decision type thing. Like you are having to make that same decision over and over and over again. Every single day, it's a recommitment. It's choosing the same standard again and again and again until it becomes not just what you're doing, it becomes who you are. And that's when it's part of your identity now, when your behavior has a straight line all the way down from your behavior to your beliefs, to your values, to your identity, and those things all run in line, they're congruent. That's when your renewal is complete. That's when things shift. It's not in a moment. It happens over time. But when you experience it, you feel it in your chest. It's very, very real. So let's remind you of a couple things now that you're starting to get this. Discomfort is a signal, and it's showing you the gap. And by the gap, I mean where you are versus where you need to be. That future version of yourself is making demands on the now version of yourself, and it's showing up in how you're feeling uncomfortable. The buffer is where this whole process takes place. And your commitment to renewal and to keep playing that game of allowing the discomfort to show you the gap, recognizing the place that it has in the buffer for you and where it's taking you, you chose all along when you decided exactly what you want. Renewal is what moves that forward, and the compounding is what solidifies it. The game of success is not complicated. We like to overcomplicate it because we see these massive stories of rags to riches, of incredible results that people have. And they seem out of reach for most people because they're so extraordinary and beautiful in what they are and what they've created that we can't see the gap between where they are and where they started. But as you get to know those individuals and you become one of those individuals, you will see a very simple truth, and that it's built daily through small actions. I've used the example in last episode about swinging singles as a baseball metaphor. When you get on base, every time you go up, eventually every time you're on base, a run scores. So this compounding effect in the domains of your life, in the choice to renew, in the releasing of what you're letting go of, that's actually manageable. It's easy. Because now all you have to do is win today. You have to do the small things today. You have to hold the line today on the old version of you creeping back in, staying committed to the identity and action associated of the new version of you. And as you do that over time, next thing you know, you're looking around and you're seeing massive results around you everywhere that you go. And you start to feel luckier, you feel more abundant, you feel like the universe is in your favor. And the crazy and beautiful part is that you built it. You built it through knowledge, through renewal, and through a willingness to actually do the work day to day, to compound day after day your incremental increase. So here's what I want you to do. There's the 3 questions that I want you to consider. And if you're able to, as you're listening to these episodes, write these 3 questions down. They're very, very simple. What is clearly not working anymore? What do I need to let go of? And what am I recommitting to starting today? Now, you've written those 3 questions down. Pick one and start there. Pick one of those questions and answer it wholeheartedly. Answer it in full honesty. What is clearly not working anymore? What do I need to let go of? What am I recommitting to starting today? Your compounding starts right now. Now, as I wrap this up, I want to make sure something's very, very clear. Because as we get into these efforts to become more and to experience better, it can be misconstrued as just a bunch of motivational gobbledygook. And I'm just going to feel a little bit better for a second. I got my hit of dopamine from listening to some motivational podcast called The Lab by that Bryce guy. When the reality of it is that you don't need to become a different person overnight. You don't need to burn your life down. You don't even need to have another breakthrough. You just need to pay attention. You need to pay attention to what's already been shown to you, where you're feeling emotional discomfort, where you're feeling lack. Pay attention to what's already being showed to you that's not working. The places where you already know inside of you things need to change. That's all. Just pay attention and then do something. Take action. Small, seemingly inconsequential actions on a day-to-day basis will compound over time to create massive results. Not perfect results, but consistent and massive results. That's the whole point, consistency. Because this renewal isn't some sort of dramatic thing. It's quiet. It's just a choice, deliberately, daily, again and again, over and over, until your life starts to reflect it. When I first started on this specific part of my health and fitness journey, I was given an interesting description on expectation when it comes to weight loss and changes in my body. In the first month, I would feel the difference. I would feel the differences in my body. Things just would be different. The second month, I would see the differences in my body. And on the third month, others would see the differences in my body. And that's been pretty tried and true. And so that simple formula applies to these things too as we make these adjustments in our lives. You will know and feel it first, then you will see it, and then others will see it. And when that happens, as you start to even that first little bit where you're the one feeling the distance, you won't feel stuck anymore. You'll feel aligned. You'll feel empowered. And that's when things start to move. And that's the whole point. Of all of the motivational speeches I've ever given, every podcast episode I've ever done, every time I've had a coaching appointment, the thing that I try to make sure is understood on a core level is that you are always in the middle of the process of it. The buffer is where we live, and understanding how to navigate that specific to the thing to which is causing discomfort is where you gain your power. And the key piece of making sure it all works right is you have to know exactly what you want. If you don't know exactly what you want, this whole thing is going to seem like a big mess because we don't know where the floor is. We don't know what the dream and the vision is. We don't know what the target is that we're working towards to where we would need to make shifts based off discomfort. And so in this whole process, remember that. You got to know what you want. You're in the buffer always. And you have an invitation right now to choose to renew, to ask yourself one of those three questions and to do something about it. Now, in a beautiful way, we have started this process already if you would like your help with it. Every Wednesday, I have my group coaching experience called The Lab. We are currently enrolling new members into the lab. It's an experience where you get to have the support and community and guidance that you need to overcome the parts of you that need additional scaffolding. You are building a new life for yourself, and sometimes the construction of that life needs more support than other times. And that's what I offer as the leader of the lab, is scaffolding as you build that amazing skyscraper of your life. If you'd like to check and see if it's a fit, go to the show notes. There's a link at bryceprescott.com to where you can go see if the lab is a fit for you. Now, if you've gotten something out of this episode, which I hope you have, I just have two asks. It's a free offering I do. This is a labor of love. But to help me grow it, make sure it gets into the ears of people that need it most, please share this episode with a friend if it resonated with you. Please tag me on social media with your biggest breakthrough and thought that came as you listened and digested the things that I've discussed here. Please let this be a place where we bring others like you and like me that are in the process of bettering our lives. And no matter how far ahead one might be in the journey versus another, we're all in the game. We are in the arena. And we're here to support each other. My friends, I appreciate you taking time on this episode. The next couple weeks are going to be really quite interesting as far as like what I'll be sharing and the specifics of it. But today, I hope you internalize this. It is a season of renewal. And if you re-listen to this podcast, you will get a blueprint on how to handle that reset and renewal in your own life. As I said before, my name is Bryce Prescott. You're listening to The Lab. And like I always say, until next time, take it a day at a time. I'll see you.